Don Poyer along with Jim Henrik along the shores of Lake Washington. Jim is in the Renault camp right now, which had to pull out of Heat 1B.
Don, a little while ago, I talked to Jerry Shanoff, owner of the Renault, and he said that the damage is so extensive it might not be able to be repaired for the rest of the season. A decision is going to have to be made. The driver, Milner Irvin, is with me. Milner, when did it go and when did you feel it?
I sure did, Jim. It really shook the back of the boat. Of course, when you lose a blade off of a three-blade prop, it really gets violent, and I felt it go in the turn down there, about the third lap, I guess.
Out for the day and maybe out for the season. How do you feel about that?
Well, that doesn't make me very happy. Even out for the day is kind of disappointing, and I hope we can get it finished and fixed before San Diego.
Don?
All right, Jim, we move on here in Seattle. And due to the withdrawal of the Miss Renault, the Kenny Toyota Volvo, the first alternate, has been added to the field for Heat 2A. The Atlas Van Line's got to be a favorite, and here we go with the second heat. And again, the boats begin to gather up in the north turn towards the floating bridge you see, the Seattle Floating Bridge near Mercer Island here, very close to downtown Seattle. As the start of Heat 2A is coming up, the Oboy Alberto way out in front of everybody, and the Kenny Toyota moving up. Here they come now for the start of Heat 2A. We've got 5 boats out on the course running down into that south turn. I'm not sure where the Squire shop is right now. It was last seen on the infield. But in the meantime, we'll call it for you as they come down into that south. There's the Squire shop on the infield. It looks like the boat is running all right. Some sort of problem for Mickey Riemann in the Squire shop. There's the leader, the Atlas Van Lines, coming around and going down the back chute. And you see the rooster tail of the Squire shop. Something obviously wrong with the Squire team. The boat will have to get a word later on after the heat. Already a commanding lead for the Atlas Van Lines. There's Earl Hall and the Kenny Toyota. He goes by the Squire shop on the infield. There's the big lead we talked about now for the Atlas Van Lines, the turbine-powered boat, brand new. Of course, it missed the first 2 couple of races as Jim Lucero, the team's co-owner and designer, was putting it together. The Executone telephones with George Johnson in second place, another Lucero-designed boat. This one powered by a Merlin Rolls-Royce engine, however, instead of the turbine. Brand new boat and getting a lot of air under the boat as he comes down the main chute. Chip Hanauer, though, the boat running much better now than it did in the first heat of the day, as he has a commanding lead going around the south turn and heading down the log boom, where many pleasure boats here in Seattle come up every year to watch as close as you can get to this course. The battle for 4th and 5th, the Joe Ritchie Spirit of Detroit and the Oboy Alberto on the outside. Scotty Pierce in the Oboy going past the Joe Ritchie with Todd Garland down the back chute. Again, back to your leader, Chip Hanauer. Been driving boats since he bounces around. Been driving boats since back when he was about 10 years old. He and his father, Stan Hanauer, now a member of the Atlas crew and works on the turbine engines, decided we'll make it a career. And there's Fran Muncie. She's the co-owner of the Atlas Van Lines boat, along with Jim Lucero, and of course the Atlas Van Lines company being the winningest sponsor in unlimited hydroplane history. John Love to his right, and they watch that boat right there. Chip Hanauer and the Atlas Van Lines, the turbine-powered boat. They say it's the way of the future, and as soon as they get the consistency problems ironed out, I don't see anything touching it. Many, many more boats going to the turbine power. You'll see Jerry Shanoff and the Miss Renault camp going to the turbine-powered source next year in a brand new boat. Chip Hanauer out of Seattle, Washington, a graduate of Washington State University, in total command, has control here in Heat 2A. He'll get another 400 points. That would give him 700 for the day. This, of course, is George Johnson out of Seattle, an owner of a small fleet of fishing boats. That's what he does for a living. This is what he does for fun. One of the owners for the Executone Telephones boat. And, of course, Chip Hanauer now going past the Oboy Alberto, lapping Scotty Pierce, picking up a little water, as a matter of fact. Again, the water is much worse than it appears from here. It's much like even the Detroit River, they say. When these boats get out here, there's no place for the waves to go as they run in either to the shore or run into the log boom in the back stretches, where they're going right now. The Atlas Van Lines in first place, going after another 400 points. Chip Hanauer's average speed right around 118, 120 miles per hour. As he goes now around the north turn, you see in the background the floating bridge here in Seattle that has been a trademark of unlimited hydroplane racing. Back in the 50s, they used to do what was called the flying start, starting under the bridge and streaking down the shoreline. But here's your winner of Heat 2A, Chip Hanauer and the Atlas Van Lines, 700 points for the day. Rolling into the north turn, the first alternate in today's racing due to the Renault pullout is Kenny Toyota, and finishing second place, Executone Telephones with George Johnson out of Seattle. And here's the order of finish. The Atlas Van Lines winning a heat today in Seattle. Executone Telephones, Kenny Toyota, Joe Ritchie, Oboy Alberto, and of course the Squire shop with more problems. Tough day for Mickey. And for the day, here are the points now. Top 2 boats look good. In fact, the top 3 for getting into the final heat. It'll be tough now for the final three. We'll have to wait and see. Let's go down to the winner of Heat 2A with Jim Hendrick.
Nice going.
Thank you.
Looks like a little better, but you were kind of high there going into that first turn.
Yeah, we're still having a little trouble getting the boat right just right yet. So we've got some time now between now and the final. See if we can make some changes.
You're going to have to make some changes to keep the front end down?
Yeah, that first heat, Jim, we were kind of all over the place. And
As low as you sit in the boat, though, can you feel it come up?
Oh, yeah. You know, that's what they pay you to do is have some sensitivity in your rear end. And, oh, yeah, you can feel it.
Okay, that's the story from the pit area down here at the Atlas Camp, the winners of Heat 2A.
All right, Jim, and remember the Squire shop was running on the infield at full speed. What was the problem? It was this, a broken stopwatch. Mickey Riemann's watch was a minute off at the start. We'll return to Seattle in just a moment.